So welcome, folks. Um, yeah, good to be with you. Um, yeah, thinking of the LA Sangha and others. Um, yeah, very visceral impact on me. Been not that it did anybody any good, but been up since 2 a.m. Just couldn't go back to bed. There's something about the images that stayed with me, and and um, and we practice. We do other things, but we practice. And practice, um, the the invitation practice is this very deep surrender to, in a sense, to put down the world. And that feels like some kind of abandonment. Mm, And maybe it is a certain way of like really radically putting down the world. But we come back to it. We come back to it with a fuller heart and more effective action, more clarity. But it's almost like we have to abandon the world to regain it. And so yeah, we'll practice just resting in this radical way of not transacting anything, not trading this moment for anything. There are outcomes, there is progress, there is development, cultivation, goodness, fruit of practice. But we arrive at the fruit of practice by not trading, you know, not trying to trade this moment for anything. So yeah, I invite you to find your posture. Settle in to some sense of alertness, kind of brightness, and non-tension. The invitation is to put down greed and distress with respect to the world. And it feels like, no, 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 no. I can't put the world down, can't abandon it. But to some extent, it's a delusion that we're propping up the world with our care and worry. And it's delusion to think that if we put down our care for a moment, it won't be stronger in the next moment. All these ideas, notions of my life, the density of our autobiography, the density of time, compulsivity of our care. We actually put all this down in order to discover a deeper love. But don't fixate on love. Just enter the territory of your mind, the simplicity of how experience constellates right now. The sound, sensation, this breath. Let the breath breathe itself. no thoughts of getting somewhere, making something of yourself, or kind of buffer, disrupting the intimacy, the experience of being alive, breathing. You're not bartering with time, trading in this moment of mindfulness for something else in the future. Practice falling into the present. the more completely we lay down the world, lay down greed and distress with respect to the world, the more full our love becomes, the less tenable hate becomes. The experience of no world deepens the poignancy of the world. And we just perhaps find our own simple little ways of helping out here or there. as a child, uh, I would get so enraged by hypocrisy, not annoyed, but really deeply affected, and usually mobilized a lot of anger in me. And it wasn't that I thought I knew the ultimate truth, but it wasn't hard to spot lies. And when I would see society say one thing and do another, or I would sense someone living deceptively using words to hide the truth, or when I would see something but nobody would acknowledge it or talk about it, uh, pretended it wasn't even there. Um, it's hard. And that was sort of how I felt about dukkha, suffering. Like nobody's talking about this all-pervasive force that I keep bumping into. And as children, we learn and understand by interactions with others, often not always apparent. We sort of arrive at a sense of consensual reality through interaction. And so, okay, what you're experiencing is coldness. Here's some warm clothes. You don't feel good because you're hungry. Here's some food. You're worthy of love. Here is my love. And this is really the basis for empathic connection, for making sense of the world together. And in grad school, the research I was working on focused on risk and resilience in um, maltreated kids, abuse, neglect, and when many of those kids faced trauma, part of what was so destructive and disorienting was they didn't even really know what was real, you know. Often they didn't have anyone to help them realize, like, yes, this is true, this is real, I'm sorry. And in this way, honesty feels like a kind of moral debt, and it's owed to others so that they can make sense of their lives. There's a Theravadan commentary um, said something like all evil states converge upon the transgression of truth. And to deceive another is to induce a measure of delusion in them. What we're attempting to uproot, we induce that in them in deceiving. And the Buddha said, one who feels no shame in telling a deliberate lie, there's no harm they won't perpetrate. And then there's a related issue, not quite a lie, but bullshit. And almost 40 years ago, philosopher Harry Frankfurt wrote this essay, a philosophical journal, titled "On Bullshit," defining it, distinguishing it from lying. And he wrote, one of the most salient features of our culture is that there's so much bullshit. Everyone knows this. Each of us contributes our share. But we tend to take this situation for granted. Most people are rather confident of their ability to recognize bullshit and to avoid being taken in by it. So the phenomena has not aroused much deliberate concern or attracted much sustained inquiry. In consequence, we have no clear understanding of what bullshit is, why there is so much of it, or what function it serves. In other words, we have no theory. I propose to begin the development of a theoretical understanding of bullshit. The bullshitter cannot be regarded as lying, for they do not presume that they know the truth. Their statement is grounded neither in a belief that it is true, nor, as a lie must be, in a belief that it is not true. It's just this lack of connection to a concern with truth, this indifference to how things really are, that I regard as the essence of bullshit. As Dharma practitioners, if we take a stand against anything, it's against that in our own lives, with our people. This is Thomas Metzinger said the scientific, very sober, rigorous approach to reality and life and the spiritual approach to reality and life stem from the same values, the same normative core. It has something to do with truthfulness. I guess the English word is veracity, the will, the pure will to absolute veracity and to accept the obligation of veracity toward oneself. At various times in my practice, I felt such a deep longing, just like, let me understand. I don't care at all if the truth makes me happier. Just let me understand. And so in this political moment in the United States, when there's so much deception and such pervasive BS, such a fundamental indifference to how things really are, I find myself returned to my adolescent rage. And this anger motivates a kind of deep wish to show, no, you're wrong. There's this kind of hunger to prove, for the final piece of evidence to be revealed, to finally agree on the epistemological terms, of the moment, to show, no, this was always a con. And it feels like, okay, I'm trying to maintain my sanity as a citizen. I'm trying to maintain some, sense of consensual reality. But marshaling evidence doesn't matter at all in the face of indifference to truth. And so this sends me into a kind of self-righteous spiral where I need to find others who agree with me totally. And there's a kind of bond in the outrage, finding consensual reality together. And I get why I have these feelings, but it's not a healthy cycle. And I feel like there's got to be a better way. Now you say, yes, Matthew, there's a better way. Let me tell you, there is a better way. And probably many things to do, but a few came to mind. And the first being just simply, may I treasure the truth, speak the truth as best I can discern it. It's the parami, sakka, truthfulness. And I try to do that in my own way, here, certain Wednesdays, the rest of my life. May I give up on samsara, this realm. Give up, yeah. Meaning I cannot make my sanity dependent on the world honoring the parami of truthfulness. And in a way, to enter the debate is to lose. To enter it is to lose. Now, I understand the incentives to deceive, the incentives of BS. I'm even sympathetic, actually, to some of the incentives. May I be relentless in perceiving self-deception. It's sort of like at the heart of this path, when we dimly sense that we're pulling a kind of fast one on ourselves. We need others. We can never have 360-degree vision, but we can make a kind of commitment to veracity. May I not live cocooned in the mythic story that is ego. May I be willing to see that burn. And Tanya Lombroso, I think social psychologist, she said that people tend to think of themselves as scientists seeking evidence to arrive at the truth or something. But we actually think more like trial lawyers, where we've predetermined what our case is, what's true, and then we make the case for that. More like trial attorneys, rather than openly gathering evidence to determine what's so. And Nietzsche said, uh, truth is apportioned according to one's strength. Okay, may I become strong enough to tolerate more truth. And then there is Sangha. Not that we believe all the same things or have the exact same political ideology or anything like that, but it is a place where we don't have to pretend what's in front of our eyes is not there. And there's healing just in that. Nature bats last anyway, which is to say, Nietzsche bats last. So let us know how to let go before the illusion of holding on is shattered. Okay, offer this for your consideration. And I appreciate being with you this evening. May you all be well.